Well, the draw's been made for the second round of the Arachas Irish Senior Cup after a wonderful opening weekend of the competition. Alongside me is former Irish international Alan Lewis. Alan, always a brilliant time of year when the Irish Senior Cup gets underway, and there's some really interesting performances and results.
Yeah, some really interesting results. I think one of the features was obviously 12 sides from Leinster got through, the one casualty being Malahide, a fantastic performance by Estonians. They all chipped in with the bat but Rose, and obviously Andrew White, our chairman of selectors, chipped in with 4 wickets, which we very much excite him.
And Leinster had a big win up in Stormont. That was a little bit unexpected on the road.
Well, they're a useful side. They've got a very good seam attack. They have 4 frontline seam bowlers. They'll be a real side to watch in this competition, I feel.
Without further ado, we're going to show you the draw. It's going to be on your screens now. So running from the top, it's going to be an all-NCU fair between Estonians and Lisburn. Then in Park Avenue, Railway Union will host Balbriggan. There's 2 games that were rained off on the opening weekend. They're set to be refixed. One of those is Cork County and Ardmore, and the winners will be at home to Pembroke. Carrickfergus and Donamana was also rained off, and they will host the Hills. Leinster, as we said, with an impressive win up in Stormont, they'll host CIYMS. YMCA will play Merrion in an all-Leinster affair. That'll be a very evenly awaited fixture. And also Warwickstown and Clontarf, 2 of the real big hitters, will face off at the lawn. And North Down, who are so impressive in the opening round, they will host Phoenix. Maybe just start with North Down, Alan. 10 wicket win, Ali Shields with wickets and runs.
Yeah, fantastic performance, 80 odd runs, 4 wickets, a real all-round performance to get a side home, and they are a good side and they'll feature a long way into this competition, I would feel.
Well, 2 massive heavyweights will face off at the lawn, Warwickstown and Clontarf. There'll be a huge crowd at that, I'm sure. It should be an epic.
Yeah, it'll be a great game. Warwickstown have a fantastic history in the competition. Clontarf, they're a very young side. They're pulling together. They have a lot of young players in their team, and very well rounded with the likes of Pointer, Ruan Cronje, so that'll be a real exciting clash.
The Hills are going to have a tricky away game, whether it is Carrickfergus or Donamana. That'll be a very interesting refix.
Well, certainly if Donamana are to prevail, it will be a very interesting refix, a very difficult place to go, but they're very well equipped. They're a very good team, and I think they'll progress.
Railway Union have been one of the standout sides in Leinster so far this season, beating Merrion in the Leinster Senior Cup and through to the semi-finals of the Alan Murray. They're going to host Balbriggan, who have been on a massive rise in the last couple of years. Well,
I think one of the features there, it's going to be Railway Union at home. They're very well used to the dimensions of the game. Of course, Kenny Carroll has been huge for them. He's fantastic in one-day cricket, but they're a good all-round team. They have a New Zealand overseas player who's very impressive, and a good bowling attack, very measured in how they go about their business, so they will challenge Balbriggan.
And Cork County and Ardmore will have the chance to host Pembroke, who just almost limped over the line thanks to a fine innings from Lorcan Tucker. Well,
it's a feature. I think one of the things you saw in the first round, the international players who played in the competition all performed, but that was probably in the light of the pressure he was under. Came in 80 for 8, and he saw his side home spectacularly with 77 not out, and it's a measure really of how he's progressed even into the Irish setup. He's played a lot of club cricket, and he's seeing the value of it at international level.
Well, last year's winners make the trip to Rathmines. Leinster very impressive winners, as we said, against CSNI, so a big challenge for the defending champions.
Yeah, it'll be a tricky fixture. Again, Leinster will be very happy to be at home, and as I said earlier, they've got a really good 4-pronged seam attack, so it's going to be a challenge.
Well, 2 provincial derbies are the final 2 games. We'll start up in the north with Estonians against Lisburn. Talk about, when you look at the draw, that'll be one of the standout games I'm sure many people will be keeping an eye on.
Yeah, it'll be very close. Obviously, Jones has gone from CIYMS to Lisburn. He's trying to galvanise their incredible progress over the last few years. Wonderful club, Dean Simpson running the show up there, and they're very impressive with how they've gone about their business, and that'll be a really intriguing tie. Hard to call, to be honest, John.
Last year's league champions Lisburn will go to Shaw's Bridge, and the final game we'll look at YMCA against Merrion, your club YMCA. It'll be a really interesting game, and of course here at Claremont Road.
Yeah, I think YMCA will be very happy to be at home. It'll be always matches between YM and Merrion are close, and obviously you and I will have divided loyalties, but that's the way it goes. But should be a very tight game, I would imagine.
Well, some really standout games in the Arachas Irish Senior Cup second round, as you can see the draw on your screen, and those games will be played on the 4th of June. Now we're going to turn our attention to the Arachas National Cup, and it was also a very exciting opening weekend to that competition with 2 new sides entering the competition for the very first time. Letterkenny made the trip to Crega in Belfast, where they were unfortunately beaten, but also Muckamore went down to Wexford Wanderers, who hosted their first ever game in the National Cup. It's what it's all about.
Well, I believe it was a great occasion down there, Sean. The mayor of Wexford at the game, Muckamore stayed down, both sides integrated with themselves, and it's what this competition is all about. Obviously Muckamore have garnered a home draw in the next round of the Cup, which is great for them, but it was a wonderful occasion enjoyed by all.
Rush had an eye-catching win. Neil Rock and Lou Johnson were outstanding, making centuries, particularly Neil Rock hitting 16 sixes.
Well, he's been in great form at the start of the season, and that belted its way into the Northern Knights victory. He looked to play absolutely beautifully this week, and he's in a rich vein of form, and they're going to be hard to beat.
Well, the draw for the second round of the Arachas National Cup is now on your screen, and I'll run through them for you. Limerick and County Galway was match abandoned, so it's going to be refixed, and they'll host Craiga in the second round. Knockharley and Terranure in an all-Leinster clash. Cliftonville Academy, one of the strong sides from the NCU, will host Athlone or Glendermot, which is also a refix. Derryackie will play Burndennet. Civil Service will host Killiclooney. Muckamore host North Kildare. Rush and North County is an all-Fingal clash, which I'm sure will garner huge attention. And in the northwest, it's Ballyspillane versus St Johnstone. Well, the real standout tie of the Arachas National Cup second round draw is that all-Fingal affair between North County and Rush. Should be a real cracker.
Absolute cracker. North County, of course, the champions of this competition from the previous year. They'll be brimming with confidence again. They're at home, but they're going to come against a Rush team that are certainly up front with that performance in the opening round between Rock and Johnson, getting centuries themselves, and they'll be hard to beat. But one thing is guaranteed, Sean, there'll be a massive crowd down there.
Burndennet and Killiclooney both with away ties in the second round. They had some outstanding individual performances in that first round.
Yeah, they did. Mark Pollock's century for Burndennet was huge and really assisted them in getting over the line. A fantastic performance from him. And of course, we can't forget Killiclooney's Blady Capel, 93 not out off 49 deliveries to get his side over the line. Wonderful performance.
Well, Limerick, the winners of Limerick and County Galway in that refix will have a home tie against Craig. A difficult away game regardless of that result.
It'll be tricky, and again, Limerick have gone a long way in this competition. They have a rich history in it, and they'll be very difficult to beat down there, I would imagine.
Tricky away day for Terranure, going to Kentstown and Meath, last year's finalist Terranure. Be a difficult one for them.
Well, Knockharley is a lovely place to play, and they're developing hugely as a club, and they'll be so delighted they've got a home draw now. I would believe they'll put on a super show down there, so it's going to be difficult for Terranure down there in Knockharley. 3
of the strong sides from the NCU, Cliftonville, Derryackie and Muckamore, all with home ties. I'm sure they'll be looking to go deep in the competition.
I would have thought so, and again they've all got home draws, which is a huge advantage, and I would agree with you totally, Sean. They'll be looking to go very deep in this competition.
It's a northwest affair between Ballyspillane and St Johnstone. Always, those are really interesting games when it's provincial sides from the same province up against each other.
Yeah, because the one thing you're guaranteed, it's going to be a hard one to choose between those two teams, but again, home advantage might just do it, but it'll be played again in front of a big crowd, which just shows you the value of this competition. It's been a wonderful initiative, and the National Cup has probably produced some of the most exciting cricket we've seen.
Well, there's some sides set for long away trips. North Kildare going to Muckamore. How does that affect games? So a lot of these sides aren't used to the big travel involved in National Cup, in the Arachas National Cup.
Well, I think you've got to be prepared. That's one of the things you have to be. So you've got to kind of get to the ground early. You've got to be there and as prepared as you can be. Most sides are travelling on the day of the match, and that's understandable. But, you know, really, when it comes to the long trips, you have to kind of, in a sense, favour the home team.
Definitely North County and Rush to pick of the ties?
I think so. I think it is definitely. They're strong teams in their own right, and I think that will be the tie of the round.
And a quick reminder of the draw for the Arachas National Cup second round. Well, those second round games in the Arachas Irish Senior Cup and the Arachas Irish National Cup will be played on the 4th of June. We'll be keeping a very close eye on some of those games, and who knows, there could be a couple of upsets along the way.